Hey guys, today I'm going to be watching the retrospective review, Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War. I cannot wait to watch this. A few days ago, I started watching the Warhammer trailers for the first time. A lot of you guys were informing me on things that I did not know because I had no clue anything about the game whatsoever before I started watching those trailers. And thank you so much. Everybody was kind of filling me in on some of the stuff. I know that this channel, Thunder Psyker, I think is how you say it, has this series that kind of explains the games, and I really appreciate everybody recommend I should start watching these because I'm super excited to jump into this. There's also another YouTuber, I want to say his name is Bricky, that goes into like more of the lore of the game. So if you guys want to see that, I'll be reacting to that soon. So thank you so much, everybody that's been liking, and comment, and supporting the channel here lately. I really appreciate it, man. You guys are awesome. With that being said, this is your first time stopping by the channel. Do not forget that sub button, please, and thank you. Let's go and jump into it.
Hey, Thunder. How are those videos coming along?
Dawn of War, the most successful video game
Okay, that was an amazing open, and I already love this.
series tied to the Warhammer 40,000 franchise.
Okay.
And there's not much else competing for that title. Warhammer 40,000's history with gaming has been a lot like other franchises, and this was very much the case prior to 2004. A couple of games from back then are defended as being pretty good, but it was, for the most part, a dark age of technology.
Yeah, okay.
Thankfully, Dawn of War rose up
Lord
like the Emperor
joke.
himself, leading the franchise on a great crusade of sales, having a few sons, getting betrayed, being turned into a new form, and causing a civil war between fans of the franchise. Hey, why has nobody made this analogy before? Relic Entertainment?
Yeah, there was a few comments in my last Warhammer video, people saying that the fans are kind of divided at the moment. So let me know more in detail, like what do they mean by the fans are divided at the moment?
The creators of Homeworld, and who would go on to develop Company of Heroes, created a near-perfect formula for appealing to fans of the franchise and providing something unique to the real-time strategy genre. To find out how, let's look back upon the series, starting with Dawn of War 1. Because, seriously, where else are you going to start it with? Like, Dawn of 4? Immediately, any worries that 40k won't get the treatment it deserved are put to rest by the fantastic opening cinematic. It's over the top, it's thunderous, it's devoid of any tactical sense, but it is Warhammer 40,000 at its crudest.
Okay.
Their tactical advantage is close combat? Well, so is ours! Except for you, Heavy Bolter guy, you're gonna get fucked.
That looks sick, and of course, if the cinematics in the game are really good, I don't know how many there are, of course, but if you want to see me react to those, if there's more than a few, just let me know, and we'll put that on the list to make as well.
Well, the whole squad's dead, but we managed to put a flag up. Trust me, it makes a lot more sense once you start playing the game.
Oh, okay.
And there you have it. An orange sky, a pile of rubble, and a superhuman warrior right before you on the menu screen.
Nice!
You could say that this scene is perhaps the dawn of war. Oh, it's genius! It's genius! The human-controlled planet of Tartarus is being overrun by a race of barbaric, war-hungry savages who are defending themselves from the orcs. Thankfully, the planet's underpowered defense forces are saved by a company of space marines calling themselves the Blood Ravens, led by their captain Gabriel Angelos and the company's librarian known as Isidore. No, not that kind of librarian. These are the kind that are 7 feet tall, shoot lightning out their fingers, and read minds. Sort of like the one at that school I went to before that freak electrical fire happened. Things aren't all as they seem on Tartarus, however, as during the campaign the Blood Ravens encountered the mysterious Eldar, the Imperial Inquisition, and a band of renegade space marines with a thing for spikes and doing deals with dark gods. Bale and Sindri, who surprisingly don't resemble Bulk and Skull, are searching for a secret buried within the planet that will doom Tartarus and its entire
the Power
populace
Rangers joke, I love
to their
it.
deaths. Or a terrible fashion sense. As the story goes on,
I'm loving this so far. Okay, this video is awesome.
Trust begins to whittle away, with Isidore brash and impatient.
It's like so far it's like informative on like what the series was at the time and all that so far, but it's also got some really funny jokes in here. I like
destroy
this.
The orcs, and Gabriel's judgment skewed by his past actions, all while the influence of chaos creeps into their minds to corrupt them. It's a fairly predictable plot, but it's interesting seeing a character-driven story in not only an RTS, but also a Warhammer 40,000 game. It's not the pinnacle of narrative storytelling, of course, but it manages to be engaging without compromising anything about 40k's feel. I think this is largely helped out by the absolutely stellar performances of the game's voice actors.
You are a brave man, Colonel. I wish I could say the same of your men.
Just make sure it's the last fight of their lives.
Oh, nice, dude.
Orcs only respect strength. I intend to show them that we have it in ample supply.
I could not think of a single unit in this game which was poorly voiced. Every unit sounds as you'd imagine them to in the universe, and there are some...
And good voice actors will take games far, man. If you have some good voice actors, even if the gameplay isn't that great, sometimes it can just carry a dude.
seriously memorable RTS quote from this game, which, considering this is RTS we're talking about, is saying something.
Walk softly and carry a big gun.
Green is best.
Do you hear the voices too?
I am pretty sure that spending 10 years listening to these voices have turned my balls into ceramite. Dawn of War has one of the strongest casts I've ever heard, not just from how fantastic the voices themselves are, but also the sheer variety that the actors can pull off. Which is good, because the in-game cinematics are...
Oh.
I know. It was 2004, and in-engine RTS cutscenes don't tend to be cinematic masterpieces anyway.
Oh, okay.
Come on!
I was like, you never know though. Some strategy games have some really good cutscenes, man. Some really good cutscenes.
What's going on in this shot? Like, was Gabriel meant to go there, or it doesn't completely remove.
And see, before I started watching these trailers, I thought this was the entire series. The only tiny bit of Warhammer I'd ever seen look similar to this, like Command and Conquer. So when you guys informed me there was a tabletop game, I was just like, oh, I had no idea. I thought it was just like Command and Conquer, and that was it.
The experience, it just looks off. Now, assuming you need a reason to get this game other than to listen to Sindri's voice to help you sleep or something, followed by Gabriel's to wake you up afterwards, what does Dawn of War offer to you as an RTS game in its own right? Well, Dawn of War is a very aggressive strategy game, focusing on any mechanics which emphasize the battle you're fighting and stripping down any that don't. Strategic points scattered around the map provide you with your main resource, and since you can only build in surrounding areas of these points, plus your HQ, you need to gain as much ground as feasibly possible. And how do you capture these points? Well, you shove a flag into them, and then you pay your respects to the mysterious ground computer that rises beneath it.
Oh, that's why you were talking about the flag earlier.
Don't do that, that's very disrespectful. Oh god, I'm sorry. They just won't stop. I'm so sorry. I can't stop. Well, I mean, I guess that explains the introduction. They needed that point to get the line of sight so that they could spam drop pods on the enemy base. Just like a true Space Marine player. Infantry units come in squads as opposed to single soldiers, and these units can be reinforced with all members and equipped with special weapons. Squads are forced to engage in close combat if charged by another unit, similar to the tabletop, and you can even get to see them exchange blows and flinch from attacks, as well as finish each other off in brutally over-the-top ways. Combine that with persistent bodies, and it is a glorious scene of warfare and destruction that does the grim darkness of the 41st millennium so much justice. Little 8-year-old me was only used to seeing this on his brother's boxy computer monitor back in the day, so perhaps the first time I saw a big mech grab a chaos cultist and drain enough gore to make Tarantino shed bloody tears, I knew what Warhammer 40,000 was about. It wasn't about picking bushes or George Bushes, it was about of crusaders in space killing things they don't understand. The morale system affects your troops.
The random funny jokes, man, are just top tier right now.
During combat. A squad will break after too many losses, and although you can reinforce units on the fly, you'll end up losing your unit if you don't pull them back. Snipers, flamethrowers, artillery, and massive fucking demons do significant damage to morale. And it ends up being like a very natural game mechanic. Well, you know, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if this was happening to you, you wouldn't stick
Okay, that creature right there, that looks sick, man. That is so cool.
Would you? Do you think you're hard or something? Do you think you're fucking tough? Do you like fucking walk around in winter without a shirt on? Like you're fucking John Cena dressed as Crash Bandicoot? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. The campaign restricts you to playing as the Space Marines, who pack versatile heavy infantry and sturdy vehicles, but the skirmish mode also lets you play as the Orcs, Eldar, and Forces of Chaos.
Nice.
The Orcs are a horde army with morale-boosting leaders. Chaos mix elements of the Space Marines and the Orcs together using fucking demons, and the Eldar, an army with specialized units which were intended to be stealth and speed focused, but
of course, I would try out all of them, but I'm interested in the orcs, man. I'm interested in the orcs.
One of every unit and use them like skinnier orcs. When you consider that during development there was uncertainty whether Dawn of War
had a dragon?
Or sequels,
what is that?
I think these fall with the best picks when it comes to showing some of the most iconic and influential races from 40k, while offering the most distinct playstyles and visual differences.
Oh man,
and they succeed.
That is
in
cool
They're
though.
all fresh and different enough from one another to make me want to try them all out.
Yeah.
The campaign's 11 missions are pretty basic.
Oh,
You
11
mostly go
missions,
from
okay.
Point A to point B, destroying anything you find in your path. While most objectives actually are to destroy the enemy, you encounter pretty much everything simply by progressing forward. It's mostly a mix of the game's mechanics and level design making you behave this way, but perhaps that's just me playing thoroughly. Personally, I find it much more favourable than tediously scouring the map like a gruesome version of a collectathon platformer. You're gradually introduced to new units and different enemies over each mission, and when you do get them, you're taught how to use them through the game's level design. It works quite nicely as a gradual tutorial to let players unfamiliar with real-time strategy games get to grips with how it works, and despite being 11 hours longer, it is much more favourable than the actual tutorial that you can play.
The mouse is your primary method of surveying the battle, selecting units and structures, and issuing orders. The mouse controls
no.
the camera represents your current view of the battlefield.
The skirmish mode is where Dawn of War's game mechanics really come into their own. With 36 maps and up to 8 players, there's plenty of replay value along with the different races and the way that you play the game. And it
Okay.
can even be played online to team up against the AI or challenge another player. Whether you play at 1v1, 2v2, 3, 4, 3v1v2, or 5v3, or 2v3v3, or 4v5v5, you can create some intense and exciting battles that are a serious display of carnage with all of the animations and the
I haven't,
blood and the
like, I'll say I haven't played, a ton of strategy games. I used to play Command and Conquer way back in the day. It's been so long. But this is actually making me kind of want to get it. I'm not going to lie. A tiny bit of me is like, you know what? These creatures look cool. The playable races actually don't look bad. Yeah, there's only 11 missions, but the replayability of all the different stuff kind of leaning me toward maybe picking this up at some point.
that you can turn on. It's great. I like the variety of different game options you can choose from, ranging from the victory conditions to even strange little things like the game speed. My personal favourite though is the Army Painter, which does exactly what it says. What I love most about it though is that you have full
that is
control
cool.
of every colour instead of just being restricted purely to presets.
Oh.
That means you can get just the right shade of pink.
Okay, see, this is cool because I love customizing, and sometimes it is a little disappointing when you turn on the game and it's like presets of customization for everything. It's just kind of like, oh, but if I want this color with this color, and they're like, no, that's not a preset.
For your inevitable fabulous orc clan. You know you do
Yes.
this, you don't have to hide that from me.
Oh, I'd have the coolest looking orcs, man. The coolest looking
You can even
orcs.
import custom badges and banners if you want.
Ooh, is that Shadow the Hedgehog?
Don't ask, I was hungry at the time.
Pizza Hut, Taco
With all
Bell.
the footage that's been up for the past, how many minutes? 10? Oh fuck, I better make this quick. You've probably had plenty of time to take in Dawn of War's visuals. Despite coming out in 2004 where some seriously good looking games were released, I don't think this has aged too badly. Maybe I'm not the best judge though, since I'm the kind of person who can find even the most polygonal looking PlayStation 1
Oh, dude, Spyro's a classic though. I could play Spyro all day
game
long.
nice to look at, as so long as it's got good color composition. It blew me away back in the day though. The only strategy games I'd played before was this one stage of Command and Conquer and an arseload of Age of Empires.
I remember playing Command and Conquer Renegade. That was one of my favorites. I played a lot of Command and Conquer Renegade.
It was like a Sega CD.
And I want to say there was another one called Red Alert. I could be wrong about that, but I was thinking I was playing that one as well.
The choice of environment helps. The riverbeds and mountains mixed in with the ruined cities break some visual monotony during your playthrough. Some 40k games set themselves entirely in the iconic Gothic-styled imperial cities that are a staple of 40k, but without clever level design, the constant...
Oh yeah,
praise and
what? Yeah, is this? I'm assuming this is the Space Marine game that came out on the 360 because we were watching the trailers and there was a few that looked like it was going to be third person, so I'm assuming it's the Space Marine here.
Mind-numbingly dull to look at very quickly.
Because I do want to play that. It looks really fun. And let me know if Space Marine is worth playing. Please let me know because I still do have a working 360. I can obviously pick it up if you can't get it on PC for some reason.
Pieces on the tabletop game, but that usually results in weird contrast between the battle-scarred bunkers and the fluorescent green smurf grass. Thankfully, Tartarus is neither Gears of Warhammer nor Thomas the Demon Engine. The forests are dark and dingy, yet lush and natural, and the orange and purple skies over the war-torn streets generate some great atmosphere.
That's
Would you
awesome.
remember each mission from a snapshot? Not really. You might remember some set pieces, but only if you played the game multiple times, and the same goes for multiplayer maps. To each their own though, really. It all depends on your attitude to playing older games without visual overhauls. I mean, do you feel disgusted looking at it? No? Good, buy the game, you'll love it, you can do this. Surprisingly,
Sold.
Dawn of War soundtrack was written by renowned composer Jeremy Soule, who you may know for numerous BioWare games, The Elder Scrolls, and even a bit of...
Oh, dude, Morrowind. Morrowind will always be my favorite Elder Scrolls. The first one I played, I loved it. I just remember being so blown away at like the open worldness of it all.
Of MGS Peace Walker. It's rather refreshing knowing that the creator of the award-winning soundtrack to not Tom Cruise Oblivion, which I'll admit to listening to quite frequently in my spare time, has this under his repertoire as well. You can even hear influences to his later work in some of Dawn of War's tracks.
Oh. Listen to the strings in the background. Oh. Yeah. Very cool, man. Very cool.
Unfortunately, the soundtrack is played so infrequently in the campaign that a lot of the atmosphere it could add is lost. The calmer and contemplative tracks fit the tone of the story so well, with not only the whittling friendship between Gabriel and Isidore, but also what's happening to Tartarus and its people. The battle tracks, however, are fittingly powerful for the battles of the skirmish mode, although a little bit generic and lack the iconography that different races' themes have. Except the Orc theme, which I can't remember for the life of me which one that was. I've given the voice work praise already, but Dawn of War's sound design is also pretty solid, with the effects and ambience able to leave their intended impact, and able to portray some of 40k's iconic weapons pretty well. Except from the bolter, it's hilariously underportrayed as nothing more than an oversized machine gun. Bolters and dated visuals aside though, Dawn of War is a brilliant Warhammer game, but more than that, a great real-time strategy game. The way Relic handled its mechanics was a stroke of brilliance, giving fans of the tabletop something familiar to play, but also showing how all of those tabletop battles would have looked if we were playing in the super future with that Star Wars chessboard or something.
Oh,
Even Games
man,
Workshop
it's so awesome.
themselves were blown away by Dawn of War's ability to show what dozens of books had painstakingly written. And they were probably more than happy to accept the new wave of fans who found Dawn of War an enjoyable experience and wanted to see more of what the universe offered. If I had to put a score on the game's quality, taking into account the content, presentation, depth, and narrative, I'd probably give it somewhere around an 8 out of 10. Playing through the campaign and giving some skirmish matches a go would give you a good couple dozen hours of playtime. There's minor issues with the in-game cutscenes and some balance issues, but that's mostly if you want to play hardcore competitive matches like CSGO or Splatoon or
Splatoon.
The Sims. I think what holds me back from scoring it higher is that there's so much more room for 40k's diverse races, which would have kept me coming back to skirmish mode even further. Luckily, with Dawn of War being a critical and financial success, Relic knew just how to expand upon that. I mean, you get it? Because, you know, they go and release and expand. Join me next time for Dawn of War Winter Assault.
Oh, man. Okay, dude. That was awesome. Once again, that was by Thunder Psyker, I think is how you say it. And I'll be sure to put the original video link down below if you want to go check out their channel. And please do if you haven't already, because this was awesome, man. Like I said, I think there is a few more of these. So if you want to see me continue to react to the rest of this series here, just let me know in the comments down below, because this was awesome, man. This definitely gave me way better insight of what the Warhammer video games are. And it was just awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. It showed a little bit of like some of the things I didn't know, obviously, in the gameplay itself, but also has some funny jokes in here, which was just awesome. So if you enjoyed this reaction, do not forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel here. If there's anything else you want to see me react to, it could be Warhammer related or non-Warhammer related. You know, whatever you want to see me react to, I'll be sure to put it on the list to make. So that's all I got for you. I will see you in the next video. And do not forget, man, it's the Orc Army for life.